Montana Television Network. The Q2 10 o'clock news starts right now in high definition.
A nation shocked as the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history unfolds at a Las Vegas country music festival.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds.
Despite the chaos, saving lives became the first priority.
We started running into the casualties, so we made a little triage area and worked with the local people and got ambulances to the area.
Now a country looks for answers, a motive, and a path to recovery.
We will not be tarnished by this one sick, horrible human being.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. We begin our coverage tonight live in Las Vegas. That is where CBS's Kenneth Craig is standing by with us to bring us the very latest on Sunday night's horrific mass shooting.
Kenneth, what can you tell us about the scene there in Vegas tonight? How are people doing? We know it's a very, very, very difficult situation right now.
Good evening to you from Las Vegas. We are standing just a few blocks from where this massacre unfolded. Tonight, a good chunk of the Strip is shut down, and investigators are once again asking why. The massacre in Las Vegas happened just as tens of thousands of concertgoers were watching Jason Aldean perform Sunday night. At first, many in the crowd thought the gunshots were fireworks.
We were really confused because we couldn't see any of the smoke.
Authorities identified the gunman as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, who took aim at concertgoers from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel before taking his own life.
Everyone was just like literally laying on top of each other, trying to get out of the way.
Paddock had been a guest at the hotel since Thursday. Authorities found weapons in his suite, including handguns and rifles.
We have recovered 23 firearms at Mandalay Bay and 19 firearms at his home in Mesquite.
Officials also found several pounds of ammonium nitrate in Paddock's car, a material used to make explosives. What led Paddock to carry out the attack along the popular Las Vegas Strip remains a mystery. Officials are searching through his electronics and looking into his background. Paddock was a retired accountant, but family members say most recently he was a professional gambler who had won large jackpots.
The fact that he had those kind of weapons is...
Back in February, Paddock purchased a shotgun from Utah gun shop owner Chris Michael.
There was no red flags any time along the way. I mean, normal, everyday guy.
Outside Vegas City Hall, residents and politicians lit candles and held signs reading Vegas Strong as a tribute to those who were injured and killed. This is clearly a massive investigation, and there are a number of crime scenes, including two behind me, one inside the hotel and one outside where this concert came to a tragic end. I'm Kenneth Craig reporting live in Las Vegas. Send it back to you.
Kenneth Craig, thank you so very much tonight from Vegas.
Montanans at that concert are sharing their harrowing accounts of the violence that played out all around them.
Q2's Dustin Clayman spoke with a Columbus High School grad who was near the stage when the shooting began. Dustin.
Jay and Jeanelle, none of those who attended the three-day event will forget what unfolded. Part of that is the good that they saw. You might remember Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He has a story of what his mother told him: when tragedy happens, always look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. In speaking with Chantel McCrory, she took note of when the bullets were flying, people didn't cower, they stepped up.
We were huddled together, and I was actually in shock, and I was shaking, and people who didn't even know me held me, and people held your hand, and people, like, they had no problem jumping over to help. So many people were so strong. That's one thing I could say, is the people there were so strong that they were more focused on the next person and getting where they need to be instead of breaking down or just giving up.
McCrory was uninjured. Another Billings woman we reached out to helped move victims out of the area. And we'll hear more of the bravery shown last night, the helpers who made a difference in the light of tragedy. Jane, Jeanelle.
All right, thank you very much, Dustin.
More Montanans flew into Billings tonight from Vegas.
As you might expect, emotional reunions with family at the Logan International Airport here in town. This unfolding around 8 p.m. tonight. We can also tell you Allegiant Air, a Las Vegas-based airline offering flights to and from Montana, now offering free travel for family members of victims of this unspeakable tragedy.
You can contact the airline at communications@allegiantair.com. Allegiant is also allowing travelers who'd like to change their plans this week to do so at no cost.
Tears fell as family members clung to loved ones when they arrived back in Missoula late this afternoon from Vegas.
MTN's Kent Lutzen brings us a story of Montanans helping others in crisis.
It was a living nightmare. I saw the few people that had been shot, and just the sheer amount of gunfire coming from wherever it was coming from. I just knew it was terrible.
Montana residents embraced their loved ones after an emotional return from Las Vegas. What was supposed to be a country music getaway turned into the unthinkable.
It sounded like fireworks. I think everyone just kind of for a minute just kind of looked at each other, and then we saw them ushering everyone off of the stage, and people just started screaming and running and saying there's shooters.
It wasn't until the music stopped playing and the band fled the stage that people realized what was actually happening. Witnesses say it was a full-blown panic, many flipping tables and hiding under bleachers for cover. One of them actually a trauma coordinator at St. Patrick Hospital who, once she got her son to safety, returned with her husband to help the wounded.
We knew that we had to get him out, and then there were a lot of people that we started running into, the casualties, so we made a little triage area and worked with the local people and got ambulances to the area, and so we did triage on patients.
Others said they were trying to stay calm as the people around them were panicking. Many were unable to get into their hotel rooms because buildings were on lockdown.
I didn't sleep at all last night, and I got to the airport as quick as I could after I got let back into the hotel to get my things so I could leave. I'm just happy to be home. I'm happy to be home with, my fiance and my kids.
For many, it took landing back in Montana to feel safe after surviving the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history. In Missoula, Kent Lutzen, MTN News.
President Donald Trump ordered flags across the country flown at half-staff in remembrance and respect of the victims and families.
And Montana Governor Steve Bullock also ordered flags at the state capitol to be lowered. Those flags will fly at half-staff until sunset this Friday. Now tonight we turn our attention to the weather scene, also making some news. And Bob, we're likely to see an unwelcome guest tomorrow.
Yeah, the big S word, snow, is moving in, and it's not that far away. It's just in the next county. Take a look at it here on the Doppler radar. You can see it's made its way from Lewistown down into Muscle County. Well, guess what? Yellowstone County's next, and here it comes. It's caught up in a northwest flow around that upper-level low-pressure cell. So here's what we have for us tonight. That's a winter storm warning up around the Great Falls area. You could see 6 to 12 inches of snow on the plains, up to 2 feet of snow up in the higher elevations. That's also a winter weather advisory around Glasgow, 2 to 4 inches of snow there. And so it's a big snowstorm, and here's where it's coming from. It's going to start making its way into the Billings area, probably right around 6:30 tomorrow morning. We're not expecting a great deal of snow out of this, maybe about, sometimes probably not much at all, maybe around a half an inch or quarter inch or so. Here's what our computer models suggest. Quarter inch for Billings, but look at Great Falls, up to 12 inches of snow expected. We'll have more in your forecast coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Last week, MSU Billings announced it would begin a search for a new chancellor.
Over the past year, it's been Ron Larson leading the university, but on an interim basis. Today, a few dozen people joined MSU President Waded Cruzado to share their hopes for the person who eventually will lead the university on a permanent basis. Now, many of those in attendance today expressed support for the interim chancellor.
They say Larson has done a great job in his short time with MSUB and also has been instrumental with outreach in our community. Larson was named the school's interim chancellor last year and has not said whether he plans to apply for the permanent position. Above all, today's crowd said the university needs stability.
What I heard today is that we want to have a leader who's very student-centered, that understands the needs of the faculty and the staff, and a person who's able to inspire all of us, the entire community and the region, to elevate MSU Billings to its next level of excellence.
And Dr. Cruzado says the goal is to have a new chancellor appointed by July 1st.
Still to come on tonight's 10 o'clock news, the investigation of Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke now in the hands of the Inspector General.
Plus, later tonight, we learn more about the victims of the tragic Las Vegas massacre.
And coming up in sports, the FCS National Player of the Week plays for the Grizz. We'll tell you who and show you how he got it done against Portland State.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire and sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.